Saint Lucia, mama, that's the land of my birth. Welcome to Saint.
Our culture piece for today is we're making a chairman's daiquiri. So we're using as our base Chairman's Reserve, which is a St. Lucian rum. I got this actually, hey Key, I actually got this at the Total Wine up in Lake Forest off El Toro. So if any of you guys are local and looking to buy this, you can hit up the Total Wine. They only had 2 on the shelf after this one, so you might want to hurry up. Anyways, we're just gonna get started here. Like I said, we're making Chairman's Daiquiri, and it is super simple, only 3 ingredients. Hey Tasha. So I've got my shaker here. So if you guys have a shaker, great. If you don't have a shaker, just something with a lid because you want to be able to shake it. I'm gonna pop the ice in here. Okay, so I've got ice, and we're gonna start off with our rum. We're gonna put in 2 ounces. Thank you. We're gonna put in 2 ounces of the Chairman's Reserve, and if you don't have Chairman's Reserve but you want to make this, just use any dark rum that you have. Make sure it's not spiced. We don't want to use a spiced rum for this. So we've got ourselves our rum here. Then we're gonna pop in 3 ounces of freshly squeezed lime juice. So my lime juice is kind of scarce because we're working on quarantine produce right here, and so I'm just gonna pull the lime that we have. I tried this with lemon juice yesterday and it was good, but not as good. So if you have lime juice, you definitely want to use that in this drink. So we're just gonna pour all this in here, and like I said, you need 3 ounces of the juice. Hey, I'm glad you got to be here too, Tasha. And then I've got 2 ounces of simple syrup. If you don't know how to make simple syrup, in its name, it's simple. All you need is a cup of granulated sugar. Hey Tess, welcome. And a cup of water. Pop that on the stove, let it boil till the sugar melts and dissolves in there, and you've got yourself some simple syrup for making drinks. So we're going to put 2 ounces of the simple syrup in here. Pop that in, and we're gonna give that a little shake. So for those of you guys joining in, we're making Chairman's Daiquiri, which is Chairman's rum, Chairman's Reserve rum, simple syrup, and lime juice. So happy May 1st, and we're celebrating with daiquiris. All right, give that a little stir here, and we're gonna serve that in a martini glass. So while you guys are, I think we have got plenty of people in here today. Quick question, and put your answer in the comments below. If you were to die today, who do you believe would inherit your estate? If you had no estate plan, who do you think, according to the law, would inherit? And as an additional bonus, why don't you guys tell me who you would like to inherit your estate? All right, hey Joan. All right, so we're gonna, while you guys answer my question, and please answer my question because I need it for the second part of this presentation, I'm gonna pour in that drink here. And you serve it with a lime peel. All right, to make it all pretty. Okay, so we've got someone, your kids. My kids. Oh. Thanks for the clarification. Here's our lime peel, and here you go. You've got yourself, my husband, oh no, my child, awesome. You've got yourself a daiquiri. And like I said, if you guys don't have Chairman's Reserve, just use any kind of dark rum for just as a repetition. It is 2 ounces of your rum, 3 ounces of your freshly squeezed lime juice, and 2 ounces of your simple syrup, and you've got yourself a yummy, refreshing rum drink to enjoy. So now that we're done with our drinks and I've got some answers here, let's get started. You know how I am. I always put the drink up front and center to, like, you know, make you guys feel like you're enjoying this drink at the rum shop. And awesome. So we have kids, husbands. So as a disclaimer, the answer to this question, the presentation, is going to be predicated on California law, and we will basically be going with the general rule of the law, because there's always exceptions in the law, you guys, and it just gets complicated if we go that route. So generally speaking, if you die in California without an estate plan, it is called dying intestate. So the judge would have to go look, use that chairman sparingly. I know, granted, I did get it in a store here, so I should be fine. So the court would actually go to California's intestate statute to decide who would inherit your estate. And for you guys who said your husband would be first in line to inherit your estate if you passed away. For you guys who said my children, awesome. I've got your answers right here. My assistant wrote them down, so I was just kind of looking at it. So for you guys who said your children would be next in line. So the way it works is the court's gonna go into the intestate statute and look, and we're gonna ask, did this person have a spouse who's surviving, who's alive? Yes? Then generally speaking, your husband would is gonna die with you. Awesome. Your husband or your wife would inherit your estate. And if your husband is not alive, meaning that he either died with you or before you, then your child or children would inherit equally. And so for people without spouses and or without kids, which, you know, there's a pretty big segment of people out there without spouses or kids, then the court would look past those two and then look into your parents as the next in line to inherit. It could be very possible that your parents have passed away before you, so then we look to your siblings. And if you have no siblings, then we look to your nieces and nephew. And if you have no nieces and nephew, then we look to your cousins. And so that is the path that the court will take if you do not have an estate plan. So what kind of people should be thinking? So if the distribution scheme that I just described, spouse first, then kids, then parents, siblings, nieces and nephew, cousins, if that works for you, then I could see how, you know, you might not want to have an estate plan. But what if that doesn't work for you? What if you don't have a spouse and you don't have kids, but you would like your nieces and nephew to inherit? You know, the court cannot just jump. If your parents are alive, they won't jump past your parents to your nieces and nephews. So if you want your nieces and nephew to inherit, then you would have to create an estate plan to direct that. What about if you're in a long-term relationship? You're not married, but you're in a long-term relationship. You and your partner have been working on amassing your estate, the combined estate, and you want your long-term spouse to be the one to inherit. As you can see, the court would not consider that person to be part of the inheritance scheme. So if you wanted to have your partner inherit, then that's another situation where you would want to have an estate plan. What about if you are married, second marriage, and you have a child from your prior marriage and you want that child to inherit? You want to make sure that you have an estate plan indicating that, because as you can see, your spouse would be first in line. So there are a lot of situations where that scheme doesn't work. True story. I have a client, she's not married, no kids. She has an ex-husband, but the interesting part is she has pets, and so she wanted her pets to inherit her entire estate. And that, as you can see from what I just told you guys, pets are not part of the distribution scheme, you know. And so for that client, she is leaving. We have an estate, we created a trust, and she's leaving over $1 million estate to her pets. I know for some people that might seem a little crazy, but you know, everyone's gonna have different family life circumstances, and for that reason are going to want different things to happen with the estate. So if, like I said, as a recap, if you die intestate in California, your estate is going to first go, as a general rule, and I have to be very clear about that because there is, like I said, differences in, there's complications and exceptions. So as a general rule, your spouse would be first in line, and if your spouse has predeceased you or died with you, then your children. And if you don't have any children or your children predeceased you, then we go to your parents, siblings, and down that route. Oh my God, pets, fun and needy person. You know, everyone's gonna have the things that are important to them, and for that client, her pets were important. She wanted to make sure that her pets were taken care of and that there were enough assets to make that happen. You know, pets have a longer lifespan than adults do sometimes. And so she wanted to make sure that the pets had a place to stay, to live. You know, people treat their pets as kids, and so she wanted to make sure her pets had a place to stay, but also that if there were any medical bills, that those were covered, and that the person who was taking care of the pets wouldn't have to feel like they were saddled with the responsibility of pets and no way to take care of them. And so similar to how we want to make sure that our kids are cared for, you know, it's like people have, you know, things that they want that are important to them. To your point, Tasha, I do have clients who will leave a portion of their estate to friends whom they've deemed to be needy, in the sense of, like, you know, this person could really use this money. I also have clients who leave their assets to charity because the charitable organization is important to them. So there are a lot of there are a lot of options that don't fall into that scheme that the court has to use. So if you have a distribution scheme that you prefer over that of the probate code, then you need to have an estate plan. Okay?